stuff. Hmm. Mhm. Hey man,
Hey, brother.
dude, excited, really excited. Um, really just kind of want to get straight into it. It's like last couple of episodes, we've kind of touched on your wedding, right? We've been pretty much rolling strong since your wedding. Um, and something I've been wanting to do an episode on for a while now. But this feels like the perfect time is pretty much like marriage. Not only marriage, but kind of like long-term intimate relationships, right? I'm going to use the word marriage throughout this entire podcast just because it's much easier to say marriage than that whole sentence. But yeah, just, two people in a committed relationship, what that looks like, how to navigate it, and, what I have realized and experienced when it comes to how to be peaceful within that relationship, how to be confident, how to be compassionate, and how to not lose yourself, which I think is a big one because I've lost myself in many relationships. Um, and I think it's really important that if we're going to talk about like love and we're going to talk about relationships, that, people really understand what love actually looks like in a committed relationship and in a marriage. And so, yeah, that's where I want to go with this. Um, and as a
Yeah,
married man, as a married man, Dan, we can talk about this.
yeah. Since I have so much experience, um, no, I just thought it was really cool the questions you asked us and our meetings leading up to our marriage. I thought that was like a really cool space that you created for us. I thought it was very special I mean, the first time we met, you just asked us very simple questions, like what gets you going? How did you meet? What do you like about each other? Um, what does the other person do that pushes your buttons? Um, so I thought that whole preparation for the marriage was very special, and it really allowed us some time to reflect and be authentic, really, because you asked us some cool questions that were easy to answer, but you also asked us some difficult questions that were a little bit more difficult to answer. But that was a cool space that you created for us.
I'm glad that you enjoyed that, dude. Um, I continue to, in those spaces, even though, I mean, like you're my brother and she's my sister, it's like, sometimes like I'm putting together those sessions beforehand, I'm writing these questions down. I'm like, man, like this is a real question. You know what I mean? It's like I want to ask you guys because it's a real question. At the same time, I'm kind of like there's a part of me that's just like, but it's important, man. Like all of these things are super important. And I feel like most people that are in committed relationships never even get there, dude. You know what I mean? Like they don't even have those conversations and they don't really know as much about each other as they think they do. And they're not easy conversations to have, right? Like to be able to receive someone's perspective that maybe you don't agree with and that maybe like they're expressing, and it's not even like blaming you for anything but expressing, like, what is it that you do that gets under their skin, and what is it that you do that they don't appreciate, and all these things that it's like, it can be hard to receive but really important to understand, you know especially if you're looking to spend every day with this person, wake up next to them in the morning. And so, thanks for bringing that up, dude. I'm glad, man. I really enjoyed that space as well. And I mean, in today's conversation, we're definitely going to be talking about a lot of that stuff that we spoke about during those, man, like 6 to 12 weeks leading up to your wedding. And so, something we spoke about, and I kind of want to start off the podcast by talking about this is like marriage. is like one of the most intense spiritual experiences ever, dude. You know what I mean? Like I say this all the time, that cat is my greatest teacher, and I'm sure once we have a kid, then I'll have two greatest teachers, you know. But I don't think a lot of people realize that like it's like there is at the moment because I don't have a kid and so I don't have that experience. Like there is no other uh like spiritual classroom that I get so challenged in outside of like my relationship with Kat. And it's not only challenging, it's the most beautiful space that I inhabit as well. And the reason for that is because like that's how I view it. I view her as my teacher. I view her as my guru. I view her as someone who is here with me in order to be my like clearest mirror and reflection and show me parts of myself that either I don't want to see at times or I'm finding it really difficult to see, right? And so, I think for, a lot of people out there, as you first get into a relationship, it can all be sunshine and rainbows, and that's beautiful. You know what I mean? It's a great part of every relationship. But as things start to settle, you're going to be challenged big time. And you're still going to have, don't get me wrong, you're still going to have those amazing, butterfly experiences and, just like head over heel love experiences. Yes, that's part of it too. But ultimately, I feel like marriage, intimate relationships, like your partner is here to guide you. Your partner is here to challenge you and help you wake the fuck up. And sometimes it doesn't feel good to get woken up. You know what I mean? Especially when you're in a deep sleep. And so that can be challenging. But yeah, that's what I wanted to start off with.
Yeah, man, I've definitely experienced all those things, and Roxy and I have a unique relationship where our relationship started, and then we hit the road together shortly thereafter, um, and we got to spend a lot of time together, and it was beautiful and it was challenging, um, and then you and I had a lot of conversations together, and you were able to guide me kind of through a lot of those challenges. But it is, I think it's first of all, it's one thing to be around somebody, in your free time, but it's another thing entirely to be around somebody like every waking moment of your free time, right?
Hmm.
So where you're you know wake up together, and and at the time I wasn't working, and so she was working, and navigating all those challenges where it's so difficult to be with another human being for like 24/7. um but at the end of the day, I thought she brought out a lot of good things in me, um and the conversation we had were so beneficial to our relationship, and I was able to kind of figure out what made sense for me and what made sense for her, and I think we arrived at a beautiful place.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I mean, that's that's really the goal, right? Is like, it's so interesting how I remember when I was getting married to Kat, I had so many people come up to me and be like, "Oh man, you get married?" Like there were men that were saying this, right? You get married, oh, like, and your life's over. Like just like cracking jokes, but like there was like some seriousness behind it. You know what I mean? Like you could tell that like a lot of I mean think about it, dude. Like how many times have you heard this, whether it's on like a movie or from like another guy or whatever it is, but like this idea that like once you're married things change, and like once you're married you can't do what you normally do, and once you're married like you're not as free as you normally are, and all of this bullshit, right? And for me it's bullshit. Like for me it like that all that shit that I was hearing was all bullshit. And it's still bullshit for me. Like that hasn't been part of my experience, right? My experience has been I'm going to be completely authentic all the fucking time. I'm going to do what I want all the time. And the other person is either going to accept me or not accept me. And there'll be moments where like where Kat doesn't agree. There'll be moments where Kat doesn't understand. There'll be moments where Kat doesn't want me to go somewhere. There'll be I mean, there's going to be all those moments. But the question for me isn't like, oh, like, do I do what is going to make her happy? Like, that's not the question I ask myself. The question I ask myself is like, what, like, where am I coming from in this moment, and what feels most aligned for me? You know, and going back to what you were saying, like, it can be really hard spending 24 hours a day with someone. It can be, regardless of who that person is. You know what I mean? It can be even harder when that person is your greatest teacher. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? The clearest mirror that reflects back parts of you that you don't really want to see or haven't seen, right? And so, but at the same time, as you have experienced and as I have experienced, as hard as it can be, it's also the most beautiful thing, right? And so I think those two come hand in hand, honestly. And to kind of finish off my rant, in regards to like marriage, I think there are many people that think marriage are certain things, right? Like some people think marriage is like this fantasy, like this romantic fantasy where like, oh, like you're going to complete me and I'm going to complete you. And if that's like what you think, then you're in big trouble because this idea of like completing each other, pretty much what you're saying is like you are half of a whole. And if you think you're half of a whole, then you're going to have a very, very hard time in any relationship. And I say that because I used to think I was half of a whole, and I've experienced what that's like. You are giving away. It's an illusion, firstly, because you are whole, right? You're not half. You're not missing anything. As I've said many times on this podcast, right? Like love, the other person is just a stimulus that allows you to connect to the place inside of you that is love. So the other person isn't the source of the love that you feel. That's another way of saying what I'm saying, which is like you're not half of a whole, right? And if you think that, then you're going to pretty much live a life within a relationship that makes you feel very, very good at certain times and very, very bad at other times. And none of that is actually going to have anything to do with you. It's going to have to do with what you've chosen to do, which is given your power away to this illusion that is this other person and what they apparently bring to your life. And I feel that there are many people stuck in a relationship that have this belief and um, that are a victim. And when I say a victim, obviously they're not a victim, they're creating their own thing, but they feel like a victim to this belief system, right? And I felt what that's like, and it sucks, dude. It's horrible. But coming out the other side and realizing what I was doing and how I was creating it, I mean, it's so clear now, right?
Mm.
And I get it. But I see it all the time. It's all around me in so many relationships.
Yeah, man. I think and we spoke even before we got engaged. I think when we did my first mushroom ceremony together, that you guided me through. I don't believe we were engaged yet, but you asked me some really cool questions, and I think that the thing that stuck with me the most is like, can I be my most authentic self around this person? Can I speak my mind? Can I say things without worrying about the reactions um, and so that's really what solidified it for me with to ask her to marry me. It was like that I could be myself. I could talk to her about anything. Um, and I think that's one of the biggest things when it came to me for my decision on deciding, whether I wanted to marry Roxanne or not. And um, obviously, it's been a beautiful experience so far. So,
It's a super important thing, dude. Like, imagine you couldn't be yourself. But I think that's where like a lot of people find themselves, right? In this, like, in relationships, is like they they meet in a certain way. Most people meet peacocking, meaning that like most people meet not really being themselves, kind of showing off and like doing what they think they need to do for the other person to like them, right? Um, and then they go through this like honeymoon phase where that's pretty much all they're doing. And then eventually they have to be themselves. And then once they be themselves, the other person's kind of like, who are you? And like, why are you doing this?
Mm.
And then the person is stuck with a decision. Okay, I continue to be myself, and this person either stays or goes, or I will change my authentic self in order to please this other person, right? And in order to make myself feel good and feel loved. And that's where it gets super tricky, right? Ultimately, everyone can be their authentic selves in front of everyone, right? The big thing to realize is that not everyone's going to like you, dude. It's that's just the way it goes, bro. Like not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay, right? It's kind of like, if I mean, this kind of works, but some people are crazy about sports teams too. But like, if you were to be like, "Hey, Ben, like, I love Manchester United," and I was like, I don't like Manchester United at all. I actually like Chelsea, right? Like, that doesn't mean that Manchester United isn't a good soccer team, right? And so it's the same thing, right? Like, if you are being your authentic self and someone doesn't like you, that doesn't mean that you're not cool. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. It doesn't mean that you're not great. It just means that that person, you're just not their preference, dude. Right? And if people can like really embody that, then relationships are going to be so much easier for you. So much easier. It took me a long time, bro, to get to that point. A long time. Many, much crying, dude. Many illusions of like, oh my God, I'm whole. Oh my God, I'm not whole. Oh my God, I'm worthy. Oh my God, I'm not worthy. Dude, so many relationships of just insanity. But I want to share this with people because hopefully they can get it. It's like, be yourself long enough so that you are surrounded by people in your life that love you for you. And whoever doesn't, cool, dude. They're not supposed to be there anyway. But your other choice is don't be yourself. Like be yourself sometimes and then be who the other person wants you to be the rest of the time. And then you're surrounded with a bunch of people that don't actually know you, don't truly love you because they don't even know you. And then you have to like be inauthentic in order to maintain those relationships. Like that sucks, dude.
Brutal.
It sucks. It's brutal. It's brutal. And so, and man, like imagine, what I've witnessed as well, dude, is like, people doing that for years in a marriage and then just getting to a breaking point, right? And it's just like, I just want to be myself. You know what I mean? And just losing it, man. And so it's like, man, start now. Just be your authentic self now and allow people to not like you and allow other people to like you. And everything's going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and another thing that I took from our conversations before is just like, I mean, I think you said it already, but just become the person that you're going to be, and allow that person to be who they're going to be. And if it makes sense, great. And if it doesn't, then that's fine too. And that might be hard, but I think that's super important. Is just to, yeah, just again, be truly authentic. What I said earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that may be hard for sure. It is going to be hard, but the alternative is way harder. Being your inauthentic self for the rest of your life, that sucks, man. That's not fun for anyone. Um, something else that comes up for me as we're talking is like it gets difficult when your authentic self, like when you perceive that you being your authentic self is causing your loved ones to suffer. That's when it gets super difficult, right? Or like when your authentic self, like you being your authentic self, makes another person angry or something like that, right? But that's necessary. That's necessary, man. Like one of the best lessons I ever learned in my life about relationships was that if I am in a relationship and I'm being my authentic self, and I can honestly say that I am coming from authenticity and I'm coming from love, and that challenges someone and that causes suffering within them, that suffering is necessary for that person in
Mm,
order to either come to a place where they can understand and accept. They don't even have to understand whether they can allow or not allow, whether they want to stay or they want to go. It's necessary, man, right? Because otherwise, how else are you supposed to be surrounded by people that love you and accept you for you, right? It's not always going to be like, oh my God, I'm so happy about what you said. That was great. No, there's also going to be the times of like, dude, why did you say that? I don't agree with that. And blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, cool. That's fine. Right. Um, and the key is to be able to like be like stand in that authenticity without getting lost in arguments, without getting lost in identifying with like that and like trying to defend it and all this craziness, right? Just expressing yourself and letting that stand and sit for what it is, and allowing the other people in your life to stay or go, to allow or not allow, to try and seek to understand you or not, right? And I think that's where it gets hard, but that's also where the beauty happens. And that's also why me and you are brothers, dude, because we've been through it, dude. You know what I mean? And why me and Kat are still together and why you and Roxy are still together, because that's what we do, right? We're not running away from that shit, right? And so it's like when my authentic self causes Kat to suffer, or she obviously suffers herself, but she's suffering based off that, I let her know I'm here for you if you desire anything. But this is yours, right? Like, I'm not going to take this away from you. I'm not going to, like, I'm not your savior here. You know what I mean? I love you and I am here if you desire comfort, right? But it took me a long time to learn that, dude. I always would try to, like, if I did something or said something that would make another person upset, like my past self would want to like fix it, right? And now I just realized that I don't have to fix anything. I didn't do anything. I was just being me. And and I reflect and make sure that where I'm coming from is an authentic and loving place. And if so, then I don't have to do anything. But I'm also I'm here for them if they desire it. It's not like I just walk away. And so I think that's super important.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. I think leading up to our actual marriage, I had all these thoughts, and um, I guess what was hard for me is to like figure out where they were coming from. You know what I mean? Um, had all these thoughts, and you know, like, is she the right person for me? Like, am I like locking myself down for life? Am I, you know, I had all these like maybe doubts that would creep in, and in times of when I was feeling really good and really happy, then obviously those weren't there. Um, but yeah, I didn't know if you want to touch on any of those like negative thoughts that or we might have experienced, leading up to the marriage.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's that's great. It's like, I mean, they're part of life, right? Like, we're gonna doubt so many things. We're gonna have like, so many thoughts come in. Um, and ultimately, I'm not here to tell people like what to do based off thoughts. All I'm here to share with you is that like it's a great opportunity for you to start to learn more about you, right? Meaning that like something I think about a lot is this, right? Like I use my emotions as guidance. And anything that doesn't feel good, I question, knowing that I am creating a story that is untrue, right? For example, right, you said something along the lines of like, is she the one for me? Right? Am I locking myself down, for example? Right? Like, how did that feel like when you asked those questions?
I just questioned where they were coming from. It didn't feel good.
Okay, cool. Nice. So it didn't feel good, right? And so, like, what I normally do in those moments when I'm having those thoughts and having those feelings is I give myself time and space to come back out of those feelings, right? So it's not, I don't focus on the thoughts, I don't focus on the feelings. I give myself space and I allow myself to come back to what I would consider to be like a balanced, peaceful state. And then in that state, I can re ask the question to myself and I find a much clearer answer,
Mhm.
right? I normally don't find very clear answers when I'm in, certain vibrations and certain emotions. And that's on both ends of the spectrum, dude. Like when I'm super fucking excited and pumped up, same thing, dude. Like I'm not gonna get crazy clear answers, dude. And when I'm like really like angry or frustrated, also not gonna get very clear answers. And so it's not that I never move forward in my life based off like those emotions, but ultimately, like if they're big questions, which those ones were that you're asking yourself, right? Like if they're big questions, I give myself the space to come back, and then I ask the questions again and see where I'm at, right? And if there's no clear answer, then there's nothing to do. You just keep walking through life and the answer will come to you. 100% the answer will come to you. I think a lot of people find themselves in a sticky situation when they like try to push for it. They're like, no, I need the answer now. It's like, well, unfortunately, you don't have the answer now. So you can answer it now, but it's really not going to be the answer that you probably like are most aligned with. And you may come back like in the there may be a future present moment where you look back and you be like, fuck man, maybe I should have like given myself some time there. And so that's what I do, man. That's kind of my process. But ultimately I've also found that when we are experiencing something we've never experienced before, we are always going to have, not always, but we are very often going to have uh thoughts like that. We're going to question. We're going to have like slightly fearful, anxious thoughts about the unknown because it's fucking unknown, right? So they're very common thoughts to have, very common feelings to have, but I would not make decisions in those feelings. I would give myself the space to get out of those feelings first. Ask the question again.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. The unknown is scary, and yeah, if you haven't gotten to a place where you can just embrace the unknown and look forward to the unknown, um, but I think that's really where growth happens. Where
Yeah.
you don't know what's going to happen, but you choose faith instead of fear, and yeah, good things happen.
Well, it's interesting too, right? Because it's like, like I've heard this like said a lot, right? Like the unknown is scary. And it's like, well, let's like I'll play devil's advocate and question that. It's like the unknown isn't scary because it's unknown, and so it can't be scary because it's unknown. What's scary is when we take our past experience and paint that onto the unknown, and then we get fucking scared, right? Because otherwise, it's just unknown and it has no feeling towards it. But we have all of these like past experiences and memories and feelings and emotions, and then we paint all of these possibilities that didn't feel good in the past when we experienced them, and then we paint them on into like this future unknown, and then we're feeling everything based off of that. And so it's not actually the unknown that we're afraid of, it doesn't feel good, it's what we've created and pasted into the unknown. And if we can just realize that and remove that shit and just realize like uh it's the unknown. What am I doing right now? I'm trying to figure out the unknown. Is that what I'm doing? Like in this moment, I'm trying to ask myself what's going to happen. It's so stupid, dude. It's so stupid, dude. It's so dumb when you think about it, right? Like what we do and how we do it. It's just like, no, like, let me try and figure out the unknown and then I'll feel better about it. It's so dumb, dude. But yeah, it cracks me up. I laugh at myself so much, man, when I have thoughts like this. I'm just like, fucking, dude, what are we doing? Our mind, it's like, dude, why am I using my mind to try and figure out the future? My mind has no idea about the future. It just has ideas about the past. And so, what am I
Yeah,
doing? You know?
yeah, it's unconsciously using your mind.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Um, another way I feel like people think about marriage and relationships is kind of like a contract model, kind of like you know you have right like roles and responsibilities, and like they paste like expectations onto themselves and onto their partners, and that's just a recipe for disaster, guys. Like this whole idea of like, and don't get me wrong, like I've experienced it and I still have moments of experiencing it. I still have moments where I like subconsciously create this like list of like, I did this, why didn't you do that? Shit like this, right? And that's just a recipe for disaster, guys. Like, get rid of expectations, get rid of roles, just allow the other person to be. Because if you want to be, then you need to give that to the other person. If you want freedom, you need to give freedom to the other person. Whatever you want in a relationship, you need to give it. give it. Even if you're not getting it back, continue to give it, and I guarantee you eventually you'll get it back. Right. Yeah, but that whole idea, like the whole contract model of relationships and marriage is insane to me. And if we can be aware of it and push that to the side, you're gonna be much better off for it. Um, because ultimately, like all it's going to create is arguments where you're going to have two people identified with their stories, right? Pretty much just saying, like, oh no, like my story is the right one. I'm right now, and you're wrong. And it's just like you're going to get nowhere very, very quickly.
Crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And so, based off like those ideas of like what most people I would say like think marriage and a relationship is compared to like what it actually is. And what it actually is two souls agreeing to support each other through it all. That's all it is, man. And that's real. And if you make it anything else, that's what you're making it, right? But what it actually is two souls agreeing to support each other through it all. And what's through it all? Dude, through the journey, right? Through the journey, man. You are here to support the other person on their journey to waking up, pretty much, on their journey within themselves. And so ultimately, think of yourself as um, someone who is going to be walking by their side, holding their hand, and they're going to be holding your hand, and you're just going to walk together for eternity, right? And they're going to let go of your hand at times, and that's okay. And you're going to let go of their hand at times, and that's okay because that is needed, dude. Right? You need to go do your shit. They need to go do their shit. The cool part is that when you both come back and hold hands of your own accord, not because you had to run after the other person and like grab them and pull them back in order to hold their hand, not because you had to hold on to them so tight because you were so scared they were going to let go of your hand. Like none of that is love. None of that is going to work. None of that is ultimately going to feel good and create a relationship that either of you desire. If you want trust, give it. Again, if you want freedom, give it. Um, and so that's what I feel marriage is. That's what I feel a committed relationship is. And it's pretty cool because, like, this definition that I just said is something that me and you kind of crafted during your wedding, right? Based off like the book that I got you to read and then like the discussions that we had. Um, and so it's really cool to share this now.
Dude, absolutely. And I've felt myself feeling both sides of that. Definitely felt into the contract model where, well, I did this, so you should do this, and that never feels good. Um, but the whole idea of, walking each other home and supporting each other through whatever, and giving space and allowing each person to be themselves, it's just so much more enjoyable. And when you are able to feel into that, and it's not always easy. I mean, get stuck in the well, I did this, so you should do this model. But yeah, no, I really love how you laid that out, how you explained it. It's really cool.
Yeah, and like something that comes up for me as well is just like I hear it all the time, dude, in relationships. It's like, well, if you loved me, you would do this. It's like, dude, love is not an action. Love is not an action. Like get rid of that. Like get rid of that statement. If you loved me, you would do this. It's like, no, man, like if you loved them, you would allow them to do whatever they wanted to do and be themselves. I mean, that's real, right? And that may include them not wanting to be with you anymore. That may include them being with someone else. That may include so many different things. But ultimately, like if you love someone, then you let them be. You let them be themselves, right? Um, and so I want to share like, what I've found to allow for like intimacy and like what I've found that allows like for two people to really connect, um to really, when I say become one, ultimately you're always going to be, two individuals walking your path, but there are moments throughout your relationship where you are going to come together, not only physically but energetically, right? It's going to happen a lot. And so what have I found? Like ultimately, the most important thing is you need to be committed to your own journey. Like you need to be very committed to your own journey. As soon as you start focusing on the other person, like, oh, they need to do this and they need to do that. And oh, they're not as committed to their journey as I am, and all of this shit, you're lost, man. Like
Mhm.
your ability to focus on your spiritual journey is numero uno, right? I think something where a lot of people get lost is they desire for the other person to be at a certain place within their journey at certain times, right? It's like they desire for the other person to, man, to reprogram faster and all of these different things, right? And I just think that, in order to really create a loving, compassionate, intimate relationship, we need to be focused on ourselves, and we need to create a loving and supportive space for the other person, right? Um, and that's where I've found like so much peace and so much joy is by taking the focus off Kat and putting it all on me, and always looking in the mirror and never blaming her, and always loving her, realizing that just like everyone else, she's doing the best she can with the awareness she has in every moment, right? Um, and at the same time, like she is always going to be enough for me, always. That's super important because she was enough for me, right? Like think about this, guys, right? Like think about this: you meet someone, you're head over heels, apparently in love with them, having the most amazing time for the first like month or 2 months within your relationship, the honeymoon phase and stuff like that, right? And then like at some point, they're not enough for you anymore. Like what happened? Like what happened? And I'm not going to say in every situation, but in most situations, we created that in our mind. We're just like, oh, this person is enough for me anymore. They need to do this and they need to do that. They don't meet my expectations. And it's like, no, dude, like that's you. They're enough. Obviously, they're enough. We're all enough. We're all worthy. Um, and so that's really important for me, is always realizing that Kat is always enough for me. She's always going to be worthy. And if at any time I don't feel that way, that's me. That's not her.
That's a super cool idea because it gives you power. It gives you like ownership or yeah, I mean, you can kind of control. You have a lot more control over the relationship, over your perceived relationship with the other person. Where it's like they don't have to do anything. It's all on me. So I I mean, that's super powerful.
Yeah,
Super,
it's nice.
yeah.
It's nice. I mean, compared to the opposite, which is just like, oh no, like you need to do all of this and then I'll be happy and feel like you're enough for me.
Then I need to do all of this.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like
Exactly.
game, like, like, well, I did this, you have to do this, and you did this, so I have to do this. And that's very toxic, I think.
Uh, Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Um, what else? What else? I guess look, like, oh, that's another thing that comes up. So like if you're gonna be in like a marriage or like a long-term relationship, like you're gonna change and the other person's gonna change, right? And when I say you're gonna change, like ultimately there is a part of you that will never change, obviously, right? But there are many things that are going to change, dude, right? Like so many things. You're on this amazing journey of life, and we are going to evolve. We are going to adapt. And if we don't allow for that, then you're never going to have a long-term relationship because you're just going to get to a point where you're just like, oh, you've changed and you're going to go to someone else, right? Acting as if the grass is going to be greener on the other side without realizing that the grass is only green where you water it. And if you don't water the fucking grass, guys, like it's gonna die regardless, right? And so it's super important to understand that. Like, I think there's so many people that, including myself, at times in earlier times in my life, where it's just like, man, I was just jumping from one lawn to the next lawn, dude. Like, give me some green grass, dude. you know? And what I didn't realize was just like, I'm going to continue to face the exact same challenges regardless of who I'm with. And I'm either going to like keep jumping around as if like, no, it's the other person. Or I'm going to realize that it's not the other person and I need to push through this, man. And I got a lot to learn. And there's a lot for me here. Right. And I think that's why relationships are so beautiful because they're not stagnant. They're never stagnant. I'm changing, Cat's changing, dude. Then you add a kid to the mix. They're constantly changing, dude. Right. And so it's just this ever evolving thing. And what is the lesson for us? The lesson is to allow. Like we need to be able to allow. We need to be able to allow and support ourselves and then obviously our partners, right? But this bullshit of just like, oh no, like you've changed, like you used to be this way. It's like, yeah, of course, dude. Like that's the whole point, right? We're all going to change. And so I think that's important as well for us to like realize that that's going to happen and to be open to that and to support, man. Because I mean, what would you want, right? Like, what would you want if you had like changed in your life, you started figuring something out, or you came to new awareness and you were super pumped about it, would you like your partner to support you in that? Or would you like them to turn around and say, no, I don't like this new person you've become. Right. I think that happens a lot, man. You're right. Like again, kind of what you're saying, like we spoke about it before, like people are scared of the unknown. But again, you're not scared of the unknown. You just get comfortable with what you already know. Right. But again, it's going to change. So if you desire a long-term intimate relationship, you need to be okay with change.
Yeah, this might be a little bit of a tangent, but I feel like the unknown is kind of, I don't know, it's what makes you, or what, at least for me, it's like what makes me feel alive. Like I like to look forward to things I don't know. You know, it's like it's almost more scary to get comfortable and just like get into the same routine and do the same things every single day. Like that's not what I really want, even though that's what my brain wants sometimes. Um, but like I know, like when I really reflect, like I desire to be challenged. I desire for change. I desire to seek the unknown and try new things.
Yeah, and it's just like it's just like, you know, I understand how it can be challenging for some people, right? I think like there's this thing that a lot of people feel like, which is kind of like abandonment in a way, right? Where it's just like this person has been a certain way for so long, and you've gotten to know them, and maybe like I feel like a classic situation is two people get together and they're just like stuck to each other pretty much, right? And then they get to a point in their relationship where like one person starts to become a lot more independent and the other person feels like abandoned by that person, right? And you just need to understand that like again, this isn't in every situation. Sometimes maybe the other person is just kind of doing their own thing. But again, they're not abandoning you. Ultimately, it's just not about you taking it personally. Everyone's going to change. It's got nothing to do with you. Like, don't take it personally, right? And again, if you love them, then let them be, right? I feel like we're just going to continue to come back to that. And it's super important. Ultimately, a big thing to continue to hold close to you as you experience an intimate relationship is that it's not about you, meaning that the other person is living their life, doing their things, and your ability to not get identified with what they're doing and how they're doing it is going to be very helpful for you. It's going to allow you to stay much more balanced. It's going to help you to stay a lot more peaceful. And it's definitely going to help you to be more loving and compassionate and supportive to them, right? Instead of taking everything like really personally and identifying with it, which is not going to help you do those things. And so
Yeah. At the end of the day, like, don't you want your partner to change? Don't you want your partner to like evolve and, continue to improve?
that's what I would hope. That's what I would hope. And again, that's what is happening in many, many relationships. But there's also other relationships where that's not happening. And so I think it's important for for people to be aware of that. And it's going to come up, man. It's going to come up for many people. Especially like feel like relationships like anything else in life, right? Like it's an experience. And it's an experience that I feel like a lot of people don't look at it like any other experience. Like for example, like if I was wanting to like learn how to play soccer, I would hopefully realize that I'm not going to be very good at soccer at first. Relationships are the same thing. It's not about being good at a relationship. It's about you learning more about yourself and being comfortable within yourself. And relationships allow you to do that. And so your ability to like be in relationships and observe yourself and learn more about yourself and ultimately continue to ask yourself, where am I coming from? Is this my authentic self? That's what it's all about. And the more you can do that and answer that question at yes and yes, then ultimately you will attract someone that loves you for you. You will find your relationship to be much easier than everyone else makes relationships out to be. And you're going to feel like you're with your best friend. That's what I feel like. I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I feel like a lot of people have this idea that relationships are like super difficult and super hard. And I'm not saying that there aren't challenging moments, but ultimately, dude, like I feel like I'm with my best friend every day. And like we're having a great time, bro. And like 99% of the time, it's just us hanging out, having a great time. And then there's the 1%, which is there's challenges, right? Um, and so I think it's important for people to know and realize that relationships shouldn't be what like everyone like shows them to be, meaning that like you shouldn't be arguing a lot. Right? And if you are arguing a lot, it's something to like ask a question about and start to figure out within yourself because an argument takes two people. So if you're actually arguing, like you're a part of that argument and you can stop arguing and that stops the argument, just so you know. And so like all of these things take two people. So you can be the one that doesn't participate in those actions and then those things stop, right? Which is super cool. Um, yeah, do you want to say something?
No, I was just saying you can argue every day and still have a, like I know Roxy and I tend to get in some arguments, but very quickly thereafter, we come back to a place of, where we actually wanted to come from, and it's very easy after that, and it's all under the bridge.
Yeah, for sure. Um, it's also like one of those things where there's a difference between arguing a lot and not like never coming to a place of like radical authenticity, which is like what you guys do. Like, let's say like you have an argument and then you come back and just be like, all right, obviously that's not what I meant and not what I said, and so on and so forth. There's another, like the other side of that is just like constant arguing with the idea that like one person actually is right and one person actually is wrong, right? And like living in that world. And I just feel like, that's not something that I feel like is or should be the goal. It's definitely not something that I would say like should deter you from being with a person because that is like everything in a relationship, a part of it. And your ability to work through that is just going to make you clearer and stronger and your relationship clearer and stronger. And that kind of brings me to like the next kind of like topic, which is I was actually speaking to someone about this the other day, right? And it's like the idea of like should I stay in this relationship or should I leave? And like questioning, right? Kind of like similar to what you brought up before, right? Like the question of just like, is this what's best for me? Is this a relationship I should continue? Um, like when do I know that I like this isn't for me anymore? Right? Pretty much. And that's like it's a super difficult question. Um, and I can just share with you like my experience. Ultimately, what I've realized in my life is like void of like abuse, right? Like, so just throw that out there. Like, if you're getting physically abused, like consistent emotional abuse and stuff like this, Like that's one thing, right? And so like if that's what's happening, then yes, man, I would definitely question your relationship, and whether you want to be around that person. If that's something that they consistently do, that's not nice. Outside of that, um, my stipulations for continuing in a relationship are fairly simple. If I'm physically attracted to the other person, I think that's super important, right? If you're not physically attracted to the other person, I mean, it's kind of hard to be with that person. And so, yes, physically attracted to that person, tick that box. Do I love that person? Does the other person love me? Yes, tick that box. Am I committed to like my journey, and are they committed to their journey? Yes, tick that box. And the last one, are we able to at some point have an authentic, vulnerable conversation? If you can if all those boxes are ticked, I don't know what else you want, man. Like if you want more than that, that's cool, that's great. But for me, that's enough, right? Like those are the things that are enough for me. And so again, void of like the other things that I said, if I have those four things, then I'm good, man. Like I'm committed. I'm not going anywhere, right? Um, I think if you don't have the ability to have an authentic, vulnerable conversation, that can be super difficult, man. Because like I mean, where do you go like from there, you know? And so, I mean, but what about you, dude? Like what are the things that you find important when it comes to like relationship and like whether you're wanting to like continue the relationship or not?
I mean, yeah, I said it earlier, but I think the thing that solidified it for me was just being able to be myself, being able to have a super vulnerable and authentic conversation, and say what I want to say, and not censoring myself, and then have that be received, and doesn't necessarily need to be well received, just received and accepted, um, and then we can go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like if you're questioning your relationship, I don't think that like should I stay or should I go? I don't think that should be the first question you should ask yourself. Like if you're questioning your relationship, I think the first question you should ask yourself is like have I actually like shown up fully in this relationship? I think that should be the first question you ask yourself. I think that's the most important question you should ask yourself first. And if you answer that question no, then I would fully show up in the relationship first and see if that other question is still hanging around. I think most of the time, honestly, from my perspective and my experience, I think most of the time the relationship is hard because it's asking you to grow, and growth is uncomfortable by design. And so I think that's the most important um, question to ask yourself. And I think most of the time that's what's happening. Um, if there are some things though, like in regards to like if you do those first two things and you work really hard at it, and you've done everything you possibly could, right? Like let's say you answer the question, you work on yourself, you fully show up in the relationship, you've done therapy, whatever it is, right? Like you've done everything you possibly could. There are some signs that I think may be asking you to like, kind of move on. Like maybe it's time to move on now. Like I said before, I think like if there's a pattern of harm, right?
Once, sorry, I gotta grab a charger.
Yeah, go for it. I think there's if there's a pattern of harm, um, abuse, then not even a question, man. Right? Get out of there, do your thing. Um, if you've done the work, the therapy, the practice, honest conversations, and there's still fundamental incompatibilities, and they still remain, then I think I would still explore that question as to whether you want to hang around or not. Um, and then something that I think is like important is our ability to listen to our intuition. I think it's the most important thing. And so, like, deep in the quiet, beneath the fear and the guilt, I think there's a knowing, right? We all have a knowing. Um, Not a wanting, but a knowing. And if you just know within yourself at your core that, hey, man, like I'm being called to go somewhere else, I can't do this anymore, then I would definitely listen to that, right? Um, but I just make sure that, you have, you're not trying to escape, right? Like you've done everything that you need to do in order to make sure that um, you've given this the best chance you possibly can, and you've given yourself the best chance you possibly can, right? And so, oh, what else? I think in closing, um, I would like to mention a few things. And so I mentioned it earlier, but like one thing I've noticed is like as soon as one person in the relationship kind of starts on their spiritual path, they want the other person in the relationship to do the same thing and kind of like join them on the path. And um, the ego can get involved very quickly with this. But ultimately, you can't force your partner onto the spiritual path, but you can be the path. This is important, man. This is really important. I experience this in my relationship. Instead of trying to force your loved one, your partner, um, your wife, your husband, whatever, right? Instead of trying to force them into a spiritual path, just be the path. Just continue down your path and be it in their life, in your life. And I guarantee you, man, they will come along for the ride. They'll either come along for the ride or they won't. It'll answer itself for you. But ultimately, you can't make someone do something. And if you try to, you're just going to push them away. Um, and I would encourage you not to do that. I would encourage you to be the path and be the supportive partner and lead the way. That's what I did. And that's what I have observed a lot of the people in my life doing. But I think it's part of the journey. I think that there are stages that we go through within these relationships, within marriages, within intimate partnerships. And one of them is the desire for your partner to wake up, the desire for your partner to um, give the same amount of energy towards their spiritual journey as you're giving. But it can be a trap because as soon as you notice yourself judging, then you are attached and identified in your ego, and you are doing the exact thing that you're apparently wanting them not to do, right? And so be the path. And I guess the last thing that I'll leave you with, that for me is probably like the most important thing I could leave you with, is take a moment today and I want you to look at your partner and just ask yourself in your head, or you can say it out loud, it's up to you. What is this person here to teach me? Right? Like, it's a really powerful question and it's a really powerful exercise to do with your partner, right? Um, at the breakfast table or at dinner, just glance at them and feel into them and just ask yourself, right? Like, what is this person here to teach me? And it's something that like I ask myself all the time with Kat. And man, she's here to teach me many things. She's already taught me so many things, and she continues to teach me many things. And I just feel that if I can keep that energy within my relationship, that it humbles me very quickly, which is really cool and helpful within a relationship to be humbled, right? To be the student, knowing that, yeah, man, like by me just doing my thing, ultimately, Kat's learning things as well from me. I am a teacher and a student, but I don't focus on being the teacher. I focus on being the student. And the teacher part just happens by itself, which is super cool. I've noticed that if I focus on being the teacher, it's just way too easy to get egoic about it, man. And that's not something I really enjoy. And so I focus on being the student as much as I possibly can. Um, but yeah, thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I've had, like you said, focus on humility, on trying to learn something from somebody else, trying to listen to them truly, has has given me the most positive feedback, I would say. I shared with you recently an experience about when, you know, Roxy had some difficult moments with her family and her mother, which, you know, they have a difficult relationship at times. But but when I was able to actually truly listen to her and not try to fix it and just actually just receive and listen, and that was the best, you know, um, conversation around that subject that we've ever had, where I could just listen and hear her problems and truly listen to her and not try to say like, oh, well, you should do this and you should do this. Um, and that was, yeah, one of the times that, you know, she shared with me like, you know, you've solidified my decision as, you know, into marrying you.
Yeah,
Basically.
that's awesome, dude. That's really cool. Um, I mean, I think that's it. Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I could talk about relationships forever, but I think they're the main points that I really wanted to share with people. Um, I guess I can just finish it off by simplifying it, right? And just like, because there's a lot of information that we just spoke about, dude. It can be a lot. Um, and so if I was to simplify how to attract, because I think it's all the same thing, how to attract a beautiful, intimate relationship and how to maintain a beautiful, intimate relationship, it would be realize your worth. Ultimately, that's the most important thing. Realize your worth. Express yourself from that worth authentically and vulnerably as much as you possibly can. And be the loving, compassionate supporter of your partner. That's it simplified. That's all I got, man.
Yeah, it's easy to say.
That's very easy to say, man. Sounds really good and feels good too when you say it. Um, but yeah, guys, I hope you'd enjoy this. Appreciate you guys tuning in and we'll talk to you soon.
Love you, brother.
Love you.